All right, well, it's the fourth day for me here. I really want to say thanks to my colleagues in TMBA Generation 8. We've been working hard for the last few days here on entrepreneurship model. And just a few things before we dive into the slides. There are actually 7 slides which I'm going to walk you through. And I will start egocentrically speaking about me. So as I was presented, I had a number of roles here. And actually, I changed the role 4 months ago. I moved to Louis Berger, and I'm head of HR for Eastern Europe. That's fine. But the reason I'm saying all this is because I want to share with you how coaching helped me and helped the teams across a number of countries build the culture and also increase the performance, awareness of the individuals, and also increase responsibility. So that's me in a nutshell. The next slide is obviously about change. We heard it a few times today. And here are 50 reasons not to change. Actually, I was thinking, Sir John Whitmore wrote in 1992. Yeah, 1992. Yes, it's a long time ago. First edition of Coaching for Performance. He wrote about what drove the need for change. So basically, it was performance. Lots of companies came to him and said, look, we are not sustainable any longer. This changing climate is making us troubles. What do we do? How can we make our employees be more performant, be more engaged, and so on and so forth? And actually what he did, he took some of the practices he and his partner had in playing tennis, and he thought about using more or less the same approaches in the way employees were coached. And the link with the need of change is actually when you're coaching as a style, your employees, they become more into the co-creating part of the change, and they buy into this story. And actually, they create the story of change and why they need to be there. There are 4 points here, again, which may look a bit hollow. But again, coaching itself as a methodology, as an approach, will make this quite true. And how is that? Because actually, as a leader, firstly, you need to look at yourself first. You need to look at yourself, and then if you're centered, and if you know the story, and if you know exactly where you're going, then people will follow you, obviously. The same thing happens with your people. Once you get the relationship with them, once you get the trust, the openness, and once you empower them, they will do more or less the same. It's very interesting that these guys ran a research last year in the UK. And apparently, there is an increasing appetite for coaching in the organizations. And we can see here that more and more organizations are introducing internal coaching versus external coaching. Coming back to me, because I'm also an internal coach, I'm also an external coach. What does it mean? It's great. It's great to see that appetite happening and being present in all the organization. And actually, I look forward to see that sort of distribution in Eastern Europe. Because there is a tendency that actually the organizations want to invest more in their people, want to invest more in the leadership development, and coaching is one great tool which can help them in that respect. So it's interesting to see that only 10% of the organizations surveyed are not planning to introduce internal coaching. Apart from that, they all had understood that it's beneficial to invest in your people and also to invest in your internal coaching capabilities. This slide here is actually when I was the head of OD in British Council. That was the approach we used there. So we had 3 layers. Actually, this journey here took us 5 years to have it everywhere done. So we had, let's say, the executive coaching for our senior leaders. That's, let's say, a traditional way. Sometimes executives prefer to have someone external, not to be exposed, to have the confidence, and so on and so forth. Then what we worked, internal coaching skills development. So actually, we partnered with these guys from Performance Consult International, John Whitmore's team, the one that I shared with you. And we actually trained initially our HR staff in becoming internal coaches, which was a learning journey for 6 months with the certification and so on and so forth. And then it was another one for 3 more months to go into the transformational coaching. What we did was actually in the second round, we took some people managers with us in the journey to help them become internal coaches, of course, because they had the appetite. And some of them said it was the best experience of their life. And what made me really happy was people managers coming to me and say, look, I'm using coaching as my management style on a daily basis. And also, I'm using that as a sounding board sometimes with my peers, which is great. And another thing which was, again, welcome, was to see people managers becoming or being somehow perceived as better coaches HR. You have that type of skills everywhere. And when we were on the journey there, we were adopting a coaching style at management levels. For me, I'm doing that with my team. I'm leading a team of 11 people. I'm trying to coach them on a daily basis. Of course, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't come natural always. The internal skills development capabilities, it gives you a bit of a different role because you know the organizational culture, you know how to navigate those, and also you have the relationship already formed with the people there. On the executive side is great because actually you can be fully detached. And you can also just mirror things. But also you miss a bit the sector know-how, which might be tricky sometimes. In the end, what I'm trying to say is that there are a number of methodologies in place here. So you can see, from grow model, step out, whatever. What matters is actually the way you develop the relationship, the way you build trust, the way you psychologically contract, the way you are authentic, and the way actually you are leading yourself, being led by the conversation, not by you as a coach, but by the coachee. Because actually the coachee knows the direction. And you are there just to mirror, to support, and to provide the right framework. And sometimes just to admit that sometimes things are not working, and sometimes on a route may lead to failure, but that's fine. So it's not all rosy. The last slide, and I promise you that that's going to be the last, but it's again some trends here. Of course, people coming with some psychological background, they know that Bert Hellinger and some other techniques here are going to be applied into organizational development as well. It's all fine. Of course, you can trial. What is very important is to assess where the organization is from the developmental point of view and how coaching can support you through that journey, because it's a journey there. And having said all this, I think, coming back to my initial point, no matter what type of techniques you use, no matter what type of methodologies you are trained or whatever, what matters is the individual relationship and how you build that and how you build the trust. That's all from me. Thank you. The last slide.